3.
Hey, good morning. This is Mike Yazena here of Minorcan Magic, handmade cast nets here in the beautiful old city of St. Augustine, Florida. What I want to talk about a couple of things today, just briefly. I want to show you this, finish this 10-foot Dacron mullet net, because that's what I want to do today, is talk about mullet a little bit. And anyway, it's ready for, I've got the tucks placed where they're going to go. Tomorrow I'll take it outside where I got to hang it out in the middle of my carport out there where it's tall enough, because this thing's 10 feet, where I can secure these things. And you do that with just a series of half hitches on that lead line. You put a series of half hitches, you keep them good and tight. Then you cut it off and you burn it, right, mold that melted nylon into, I use nylon braille lines. You can't get, you wouldn't want to have to pay what it'd cost you to get braille line just big out of Dacron. So I use braided nylon. And then I coat it with my nail polish. But anyway, that's what this is. It's a 10-foot, it needs a home. It's ready to go. It's ready for the mullet run, when and wherever that may be. But anyway, these things are have gotten extremely popular. Phil's going to run a little view up that thing where you can see just how long it is and just how many knots. I still think a lot of people just don't realize you give them a price and some of them gives them a heart attack, and but they just don't realize how many knots. If you look at that thing and see how many knots, and I hand tied every one of those, and then of course the cost of the Dacron is expensive. So with that said, I think we'll move right on to for you folks that you old mullet fishermen probably understand what I'm going to tell you about this morning, and that is basically the anatomy of a mullet. There's roughly 78 species of mullet in the waters on Earth, and a mullet is classified as a vegetarian. They don't eat meat. Mullet do not eat meat. They eat scum off the top, salt water in the creeks and stuff. You'll see them on top of the water nipping away at the scum floating by, and the grasses and stuff of that, nutrients and stuff out of the mud is their diet. So therefore, to digest that type of stuff, a mullet has a gizzard. Mullet is basically the only fish, saltwater fish, that has a gizzard, just like a chicken has a gizzard. So that's how they digest their food. It goes in through the gizzard and in one end, out the other, I guess. But another thing about a mullet is they have what we used to call it a gall. It's a gallbladder, but we used to just simply call it a gall. Now the gall is a little sac, liquid sac. It's yellow. And it's basically, it's right up at the very top of the stomach, right up close to the gill line. And if you make the mistake of cleaning a mullet and cut that gall, you can throw it away. You couldn't eat the fish. If it gets on that meat, it's so strong and bitter you wouldn't be able to eat it. So with that said, about the only time I've ever cut the gall cleaning a mullet, and I've cleaned thousands of them for smoking, because you just cut them down. Smoking, you just cut the head off and you cut them down the back. You pop them open, clean out the stomach and the internals, and you don't see it. The only time I've had trouble with a gall is on roe mullet, because roe mullet, that you have to cut him all the way up to work that roe out the stomach, because it forms, and it's from the back end all the way up to the front end, and you have to take and clean it out. So there is a chance there. But that's about the only issues with cleaning a mullet. Now around this area here, I was talking about varieties, roughly seven. I think they call it 78 different varieties, and if you look it up, there's all different colors, red, and there's a red mullet of all things. And this area here, basically, we only have two varieties basically here in this area that we see, and that's it's the black mullet and the silver mullet. The black mullet, I don't know, they call it the striped mullet or black mullet. This is the one that's got that really dark back, and that's basically the mullet that they stay in this area all year round. Now they talk about a mullet that they spawn and they go up in fresh water to grow up, and then they come back out, when they get grown. And a mullet can live 10, 12 years, believe it or not, and they can attain a weight of 10 or 12 pounds. I have caught them 5 and 6 pounds, doing the mullet run, but you don't catch very many that big. Most of the time they're only, a roe mullet runs usually, 3, 4 pounds, 2 to 4, somewhere in that range. And but anyhow, this area we have, like I said, the silver mullet and the black mullet. From where my ancestors come from, the Mediterranean, over in the port of Mahan, there in Menorca, they have 5 different varieties in that area there. But basically, what we have just the 2, and that theory about them spawning and going up into the fresh water, they stay right here on this coast year round, from the time they hatch till whenever, growing into the little finger mullet and into the different stages of growing up, and then into the mullet run, which we have. Our mullet run here usually starts sometime in September, depending on the northeasters. We get northeasters, that is when the wind blows like the dickens out in the northeast for 3 or 4 days, and northeast wind is basically traveling music for fish, especially the mullet. They'll school up and they're going to head south, and the big mullet run is down South Florida, actually Central Florida. Get down from New Smyrna probably right on down the West Palm, down that way. They really school there. You can look up the videos on it, and the tarpon follow them. Tarpon feast on mullet, as do shark and porpoise, dolphin, whatever you prefer to call them. But anyhow, I don't know. I think I pretty covered that. What I wanted to cover today. I didn't want to keep this thing short and sweet. Hope everybody's fixing to have a wonderful summer this year. Stay safe, whatever you do. If you have any comments, please feel free to comment on the video. If you got any questions, my email address is usinamike@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Get a lot of little emails from people with questions and comments and things. And the phone number is area code 904-217-7974. If you're interested in a net, have any questions at all about them, I'd be happy to answer. I've been doing this stuff a long time, haven't I, Phil? You and me been working together about, time flies. I guess, what, 7, 8 years or more.
Yeah.
He and I, since Phil got interested and learned how to make nets, we've been doing this stuff. And, basically once a week we do something. We may go fishing, we may grab our nets and head over to Valina Beach and around the jetties, and Phil likes to toss his nets for whatever he can catch. He caught one day we was over there, he caught a snook about that big, and we had to turn him loose. But anyway, with all of that said, for goodness sake, everybody, take care of yourself. And if you've got any questions, comments, or subjects you might like us to talk about, feel free to let me know. I think I've covered. If you go on YouTube, I think I've got a video covering everything there is to know from start to finish on these nets. I mean, to include making sinkers, everything that you need to know. There's something how to put the lead line on it. There's a video on that. There was a question one time about dipping. So anyway, I've said enough. My time is out. Until the next time, again, take care of yourself, and until the next time, we'll take it easy.